Today's session, like I said, is really taken from like everything that I've been doing over the last few years, and also the hundreds of conversations that I've had with prospects, with clients. And I don't know how many workshops of mine you've attended. It'd be good to know that actually. How many of you, is this your first workshop you've ever attended? Or have you attended multiple in the past? Let me know if this is your first one or if you've attended multiple. But for those of you that this is my first one, I give a lot of my time away at this current point in time. I'm always looking to try and speak to more and more people. My business is literally being built off the fact that I've just gotten to know that many people that know many other people that have then referred people our way. And then we've had different traffic acquisition sources, which I'll be talking to you about today, to push people down different sales processes through different offers to make money, right? And the information that I pulled together today has been taken off the back of a number of those conversations that have happened recently. So the stuff that I'm seeing in today's marketplace, and this workshop is something I've never delivered before. Actually, I've never really broken this down into workshop mode. So if you have any questions as you go through, please do not be afraid to ask. But one of the things that I'm hearing a lot, which is holding people back, definitely holding people back. And I've got 5 key reasons here, actually. This first one's already on the screen for you, but I've got 5 key reasons why people are struggling to build up recurring revenue streams, to get through that 10, 15, 20, 30 grand a month mark, seeing it all over the place. And the number one reason that I'm finding is that people are being way too reliant on selling their time for money. So the offers rely on them to deliver it. And what happens is, I'm going to be explaining this a lot more as you go through. And this was something that I used to do a lot, is that you market and you sell. You may get a couple of clients coming through. And then what you have to do is you kind of have to stop marketing and selling, because you then have to deliver. And then when you're done delivering, you have to go back to marketing and selling again. So it's like this roller coaster, feast and famine cycle, and it drives you nuts because you feel like you're getting somewhere, and then you end up taking 3 steps backwards when the clients leave. That's what happens when you sell your time for money. And there's ways to be able to do that more sustainably. But that is one of the main reasons that's stopping people from growing to that revenue figure every single month. The second actually comes down to the lead source. So most people that I'm speaking to, and this is the majority actually, is that they're active on these social media platforms, but the only business they tend to get consistently is off the back of word of mouth referrals. And so they struggle to sell to people that don't already know them. So if they get a recommendation, they close them really easily. If they get a referral, again, close them really easily. But there's not enough of them. Or when they do get a stranger that hasn't been referred or recommended, they then can't close that business. And they're not too sure on why and not too sure what to do. But that's another big reason that it's kind of causing people to struggle. Number 3 is one that I'm sure lots of you resonate with, but it's the fact that you might be utilizing social media. I mean, out of curiosity, which social media platform are you utilizing the most right now when it comes to trying to generate business? Is it Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube? Which one are you focusing in on the most? Now, I typically have a blend between, a lot of the time, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, and it seems to be that that's the perfect blend as well. But what people seem to be struggling with is they're able to maybe build their networks up a little bit, so getting connections in place, but they can't seem to get their target market, the people that will go on to become customers, responding to them. And so whether that is getting engagement on their content or whether that's responding to direct messages, they just can't seem to get that information back, and therefore can't build the relationship, can't nurture, and then can't convert. And it typically comes then down to that number 4, right? So the reason social media isn't working, the reason why they're not able to scale sustainably, is because you lack a predictable and sustainable sales process. So everything that I do is process driven. I know it's not the most sexiest thing to hear, but it's the reason why we grow month in, month out without fail. We have a process that gives us leads every single week. You're part of one of those processes now. This is what we call a webinar campaign. I run a number of different campaigns, which I'm going to be sharing with you in today's workshop as we work through. But in reality, what's happening is that lots of people's strategies when it comes to marketing and sales is kind of based on the fact of hoping that things are going to happen, hoping that things are going to change. And for me, I don't believe you can build a business on the back of hope. You're going to get some good luck along the way. You're going to get some bad luck on the way, but you can't rely on the hoping of things are going to get better as a guaranteed strategy to growing your business. It just doesn't happen. And so with that being said, what I'd love to know is, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, now they may all apply to you, but if there was going to be one that was going to like really resonate with you right now as the thing that you think, do you know what, if I could just solve that problem, like which one would it be? So we've got Penny that's coming with 2, Robbie that's coming with 4. We've got another couple of 4s that have come through, Giselle with a 4 as well. Mark saying more strategy based on hope. We've got a couple of 3s. So we've actually got a bit of a mixture. I noticed that 1's not come up at all. So maybe I'll touch on the offer, but I'll speed through it today if people aren't resonating with that one as much. But 2, 3, 4 on 5, it seems to be quite an even split. And this is something, again, this isn't a small test case, right? It's hundreds of people that I've spoken to. And so with it, you'll be glad to know in this workshop that I don't spend too much time talking about me. I don't know how many webinars or workshops you've done in the past, but I got fed up of listening to sob stories and long ass kind of stories around what people have done and how wonderful they are. For me, I'm going to share with you the facts of what I've done. The information is there for you to read. I'm not going to read it out. The biggest thing with us is that everything that I've ever done online is documented. So you can go and check out my Instagram account, go and check out, if you scan that QR code there, and that will take you to my LinkedIn profile. Come and connect with me and I'll give you some feedback on what it is that you're doing. My Instagram account is Chris Taylor Online. I'm really easy to find, but I document everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, what's worked, what hasn't. And I've been able to build up an okay-ish size brand over the time, kind of somebody that just shares stuff that people may not want to hear, but need to hear it. So I know how much crap there is out there in this marketing and sales space. Everything that I share with you is evidence-based. It's all got facts behind it. You'll see loads of different reviews of us online. I don't need to shout about it on here. It's everywhere publicly, so you can just go and have a look at it. But in terms of what we're about, the biggest thing is helping you get a real clear understanding of what's going wrong in your marketing and sales process right now, and then filling the gap. And the first step when it comes to generating this monthly recurring revenue that you're after is actually taking a step back and identifying the opportunity that's right in front of you now, right? So all of you have said to me on here that you're active on social media, right? So you're utilizing these platforms. What I need to wake you up to is the realization that there is opportunity out there. You just need to maybe change the way that you look at things. So many people that we speak to are finding it extremely hard because they're trying to sell solutions to audiences that simply aren't interested in them right now. And I know this because I've done it. I've been there, got the postcard, and I've taken through lots of clients through the exact same thing. You're trying to sell to people or audiences that you haven't yet earned the right to. And this was something that I did when I first started. I was trying to sell to businesses that were doing between like 5 mil to 30 mil. That was kind of like my target market. And I had no right to be able to sell to them yet. My offer wasn't right. I hadn't built up the credibility. And actually, the thing that I was selling, like those businesses didn't see it as a priority. And so what ended up happening was that I was getting ignored all the time from those types of businesses. And I forgot the fact that because I was documenting my business journey, because I was talking about what was working and what wasn't, because I was building my audiences on these platforms, I had people in front of me that I could sell to. But what was happening was, because I was talking to the wrong people, and I don't know if anyone else gets these objections, but let me know in the chat, like which one you get the most of. Number one is I can't afford it. Has anyone been given that objection recently? Can't afford it right now. Another one is I don't have the time to be able to do it. That's one that, again, still comes up today, to be fair. You've got to overcome that one with your offers. But that's one that comes up quite often as well. I don't have the time to do it. And then number 3 is like, I don't have like the priority is that it's just not for me right now. And so those 3 things used to come up. And I used to think that it was just down to my target market, right? I just thought, you know what? It's just the wrong time, right? They're just the wrong people. I need to get in front of the right people. And this was where I started to look at the way that you've got to frame your products and services. And this is the first real lesson, really, that I want you to take notice of and ask yourself the questions, because it's really important. With each of whatever it is that you're selling, some of you have said consulting, service-based businesses, headhunting. The way to really stand out, and if you look at some of the best businesses out there in the world, they tick these three boxes. And I don't have time to cover them in a huge amount of detail today, but I do want you to have a think about them. Number one is asking yourself the question of whether what it is that you're selling right now is in high demand, and is there loads of competition? Because this was a big thing in my space. My service, the way that I was framing it, it didn't seem like lots of people wanted it. And so therefore I was struggling. I was fighting, trying to get people, I was trying to persuade people to buy from me. I then had to look at the quality of the offer that I was putting out there. So if it's in high demand, bang, great. People are wanting it. People are hungry for it. People are going to buy it. Then I have to look at the quality of it. Is the offer like the best offer it could be? Is it something that people are snapping my hands off to be able to buy? Another thing that we're going to look at today in terms of the way that you frame things. And then the third thing then is whether yours is a long-term solution or a short-term solution. So what I love to build, especially for monthly recurring revenue businesses, are solutions that are delivered, yes, not quick wins, but actually solutions that people are not going to want to leave. Solutions that are going to encourage people to stay for a long period of time, because that's how you grow your business, right? You need monthly recurring revenue, week in, week out, month in, month out. So you're not having to desperately sell every single month. And at the time, when I first started this was my second business. So I had a property business initially, which I exited. And then I started my second business, which was an Instagram agency service. And I also was selling 2-day courses, which you can see me in the room there. I was delivering that 2-day training. And I actually attended a mastermind back in November 2019. And this is where I met a few different people, like with when it comes to this whole process. Jill, I believe I met you there on one of these masterminds. Cost a lot of money for me to be able to do it, to be fair. However, they told me that this was the way to go. Become the go-to person when it comes to Instagram, sell a 2-day course, and then also have agency services in there as well. The agency model was a monthly recurring revenue model. So MRR is monthly recurring revenue. And it was an easy sell, right? People were buying my service, but the issue was keeping clients. It was retention, because the problem with social media marketing and monthly recurring revenue from an agency model is, unless you can guarantee revenue and drive revenue into the business, unless that business is doing well, they're always going to look to cut costs at some point. And with content, we couldn't do it. Like, we couldn't guarantee, we didn't have control of sales. And so what I had to look at was, well, the only way I'm going to be able to keep clients and build on that agency model was to make sure that I moved into a done for you sales model as well. And do you know what? Everything just felt really difficult, right? Everything. Like, we weren't doing badly. We were making like 5 to 10 grand a month, and we were growing. But you know what? The agency model at its best time, I got up to around about £500,000 in the year. But I was getting to the point where I literally hated it. And I don't know if anyone else is in similar positions, but the amount of hours that I had to put in, it wasn't just the delivery, the marketing and selling of it. I was going to networking events. I was public speaking. I was doing podcasting. I was posting every day on multiple platforms, sending messages. And I'm like, do you know what? I'm a social media agency, and I find this stuff tiring. I don't know if does anyone else find the amount of marketing and sales that you have to do currently a bit tiring? Give me a yes in the chat if that's something which you relate to. But I know it's something that loads of people are finding right now. They're having to literally throw that many hours into this to try and get it to work. And what I realized was, I didn't have a marketing and sales problem. I had an offer problem. And this is the first thing to being able to build up your monthly recurring revenue. You need to look at your offer. And I remember when I was sitting there, and I don't know how many of you know my business partner, Nick. I don't know if anyone's followed Nicholas Jones online, but Nick's my business partner. He's my mentor. He is extremely successful in businesses. He's grown over 30 to 40 of them, sold his biggest one for way over £500 million, like huge, huge business. And I remember sitting here, this was in a hotel in London, and I was talking to him about how on earth do I change this business model? Because literally, I want to give up. And literally, it's driving me categorically insane. And do you notice the date there of that course I was running? It was February 2020. This was just before the pandemic hit. A huge, huge time. And it forced me, along with the advice that Nick gave me at the time, it forced me to make a change. And this is the second step. So, step one is identifying the audience that's in front of you right now. Who have you got that would actually buy from you right now? And then two is to look at the offer that you've got and then being open enough to adapt your business model to allow you to live the life that you want, not right this second, because there's work to do right this second. But in 6 to 12 months' time, like I've just worked with a lad called Reese Greenhill. He runs his own video marketing agency. He's gone from having no agency 8 months ago to having his first 15 grand month. And that's consistent revenue that's coming in now. He loves his video content. So it's like he can now start to plan like how he removes himself from the day-to-day and grow. But to begin with, there's going to have to be a bit of graft, and you've got to be open enough to adapting your business model. I used to find, like I mentioned on that previous slide, selling really, really difficult. And it was when I sat down with Nick and spoke about this that I realized that I didn't want to build a huge agency anymore. I didn't enjoy creating content for others. And I definitely didn't have the audience in front of me to scale to the levels that I wanted. So in 90 minutes, I sat down with Nick and we mapped out the game plan for the next year. I switched it. So for those of you offering coaching and consulting services, I looked to build up a training program, right? So this was my switch. I went to a training program. If you're in different industries, there's different ways in which you can do this. But I built up a training program and then an offer suite. And what that offer suite started with was a 30-day challenge, which is a 1-day payment. And then it moved to a monthly subscription upsell after that. So I built out 2 services that basically were connected to each other. We made the changes throughout March and April of 2020. And then Nick had a formal launch process that we still use to this day. It's still extremely effective. And I had an offer at that point that I could sell as many times as I like. And it was something that people wanted. And selling suddenly became really easy because I was selling something that people actually were finding quite attractive. And what I'm curious to know at this stage is for those of you that are here, who thinks that they would probably have to adapt their business model a bit? If you do, give me a yes. If you don't, just give me a no. I just kind of want to see the blend of where we're at. Not everybody will need to, but I'm just curious to see the people that think that they would, because I had to. There was no way I was going to be able to build. There was just something that I had to change. And so I switched from a 2-day Instagram course through to a how to gain 1,000 followers in 30 days challenge. So it was a £500 2-day course. I switched it to a £300 30-day challenge, which was then connected. So that was all automated, that challenge, right? So it was 30 days of training. And then I ran an upsell session at the end of it that then sold a monthly recurring revenue program. We ran that throughout March. We ran that throughout April. And suddenly my Stripe account started to actually make some noise. And this was the moment that I realized that finding product market fit is the most important thing that you can do when starting out. Everything will feel like a massive boulder that you're pushing uphill until you find this product market fit. And then when you do, it becomes so much simpler. And that's why I spend so much time talking to clients about at the moment. It's helping them realize the fact that if they're struggling, it's not always a marketing and sales problem in terms of the activity. A lot of the time, it's the way that they frame what they do. And so we've got to make subtle changes. And that was just my example, right? And the questions that I went through with Nick at that point completely changed the way that I thought about my business. And I'm going to share these with you, but these questions, would you like them so you could print screen them? Just give me a yes if you'd like to know those questions that you can then print screen as I go through, because they're things that I really want everyone to kind of take real serious notice of. Simple stuff, but extremely important. Nick gave me, after that 90-minute session, he gave me a set of questions that you can see me there on the whiteboard, then writing out. I'm a whiteboard person, right? I'm a complete geek when it comes to visual process like that. Now, the first question was, That's the stuff that you all need to think about right now, whether whatever platforms you use, whatever communities you're in. So asking yourself the question, who do you have in your audience right now that know who you are, or within a quite short period of time, you could earn the right to sell to? What Facebook groups, Instagram followers, LinkedIn connections, podcast listeners, networking events? Where do you go? What do you do where there's an audience that you can earn the right to sell to? You then need to have some conversations, right? So I have to think about what is it that those audiences, or I had them listed down on a bit of paper on that whiteboard there that you can see. And I was like, right, thinking about the skills that I've got, which was social media marketing at the time, what is it that these people desperately want and also then need that I can deliver to them in an information-based way? Because that was the business model that I wanted. I didn't want an agency model anymore. Like, I didn't want to do the day-to-day of it. I wanted to get someone else to manage that for me, and I could focus in on the information-based business that I wanted to build. And I looked at it and I was like, right, what do they want? Well, they think that they want to build a following. They think they want to build a monthly recurring revenue business, right? They want to build all these different things, and they desperately need customers. That was the thing that they desperately. So what I needed to do was map out everything that would attach to them generating a customer. And I'm going to share that with you in a second, actually. Because then once you've done that, you can then look at it and you can go, right, well, how can I best package this? And our clarity training does this in a lot more detail than what I can do now. But in terms of packaging it, what I'm looking at is like, what do I want to call it? What are the deliverables? What are the problems that it solves? How do I then actually drive some urgency for people to want to buy it? How do I give some scarcity so people will make a decision? And then how do I actually take that to market to get people to want to buy it? All of this stuff I'm going to share with you in a second. But I've got to work out how to package it so it pays me every single month, not just as a one-off. If I just did that challenge, I'd be selling forever. With my monthly recurring revenue business, I focus in on the monthlies, and the monthlies grow. And then from there, I can set my target. So it's like, look, I have different levels where you can work with us. There's a £50 a month, £250 a month, and a £2,500 a month. There's 3 different models. I'm like, well, how many do I need to sell? Well, what I did back then was look at it and go, right, 250 quid a month was the easiest. It's a nice amount. And also I can make the biggest difference at that amount. I was looking at it, well, if I can just sell like 5 of them a month to begin with, and then I could look at ways to automate and then look at scale, and I could take that 5 and make it 10. Suddenly I can get that to stack. And this is the stuff that I need you to think about. I mean, I'm curious. You will all have pricing of your services right now. Nobody can see your answers, by the way. It all just comes to me. How many of your services do you need to sell per month? How many customers a month do you need right now for this to completely change for you? What's your target number of what it is that you need to hit? Mine back then was 5, right? That was what I needed to do. Dino, you're the same as me. Like 5 clients at 250 quid. If I did that for 2 months, right, I'd be straight in there. I've got 3 grand a month. I'm happy as Larry, right? That suddenly was never enough, right? It always grows. This year I went for, okay, I need 3, then I need 5, 10, 20, 100, 150. That was how our business has grown. But the only way to do it is, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the S-curve of business, right? I do a lot of teaching about this in the academy. But the S-curve of business is you'll grow, and then suddenly you've got to get to a point where you've got to innovate and improve to be able to then go to the next level. Otherwise, you're gonna stay stagnant. So you've got to go a little bit, you've got to drop a little bit to then grow through the next phase. You drop a little bit and you go through the next phase. You've got to understand the fact that you can't just grow linear all the time. There's always a little bit of a drop before you hit the next step. But having these goals in mind is really, really important. You start off with 5, you go to 10, 20. And now for me, like, I'm looking for 100 new customers every month. I'm looking for it. Do I hit it every month? No. But if I can get to 50, 70, 80, last month we did over 50. This month we'll clear 100. Like, I know we will, because we've got the markets in place to be able to fill it. And so with it, what you've got to think about is, how are you then, once you've got this in place, is one thing that Nick challenged me with the S-curve and business in mind. How are you going to adapt what you do over time so the offer doesn't need you to deliver? So is anybody at the point where currently their business is doing all right, but it relies on them to deliver day to day or week to week? Just give me a yes if you're there and you have to deliver. I've not graduated out of this yet. I still do elements of delivery for our stuff. But the biggest thing to realize is the fact that you have to have a plan in mind. And this is what we talk with every Academy member about, of how you're going to take yourself away from the day-to-day delivery. Because when you then do that, you've got that plan in place. By the way, if anyone wants to take a screenshot of those questions, I'll leave it up for another 5 seconds. But when you've then got all of those in place, we can then move into step number 3. And step number 3 then is, now you've got a bit of a clearer idea of your monthly recurring revenue offer, you can now work out the plan of how you're going to take that offer to market to make sure that people are going to buy it. So what you don't want to do is spend hours and hours and hours building something, building out all the order forms, building out the online programs, the sales pages, the email. You don't want to do any of that until you've actually tested to see that people want it. And this is where my mindset for business, like, although I was like quite new, really paid off. And can you see, you might not be able to see like the in detail of these, but can you see the flow charts on the screen? Now, I don't know how small the writing is on your side, but what it basically is, so I spend, whenever I first work with somebody, and I always offer this at the end of this workshop actually, but this is we create customized marketing and sales processes for people. And whenever someone joins the Academy, we have 30 minutes and we map out this process for each. So everyone knows what they've got to do. And it's all bespoke in the way that it works, because every business is slightly different. But you'll see here, you've got marketing and you've got sales, you've got LinkedIn, direct messaging, email list. Down here, you've got different platforms that someone's using. But when I first started doing it, I didn't just go out there and hope for the best. Like, this wasn't a finger in the air and see what sticks. I needed to put a specific process in place that would lead them to the point where a transaction was a total no-brainer, right? I needed people to get to the point where they looked at what I was doing and went, Chris is an idiot for doing this. I need to work with him. That's what I needed them to think. The offer was that much of a no-brainer that they were going to snap my hand off for it. And when it comes to selling to strangers, so forget word of mouth referrals and recommendations for now. If you want this to grow all the time, you've got to learn how to sell to strangers like I did. And you've got to start at the end. And I had at the time previous success from selling from stages and also webinars. Like, I wasn't the best at it, but I had a little bit of success. And I also had some success when I was selling in direct messages. People really struggle with this. I love selling and having sales conversations in direct messages. But what I needed to do was this process work. So I needed to link it all together and then focus my front-end marketing towards my workshop. So I still run webinars today. I'm running one now. And so I focused in on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I automated a lot of the work to be able to get people here via the email marketing that we do. And all of this will, again, I'm going to share more details as we go through, right? But with it, the process then determines the amount of sales that we get. So if I want to get 10 customers a month, I need to make sure that I get 30 people to a webinar every month. Then it's a direct multiplication. So if I want to get 100, I need 300. And so then it's a traffic question. How do we get more and more people to it? And this then moves you into, once you've chosen kind of the process that you're going to build, which is what we get everybody to do, you've then got to build your audience consistently and then learn how to automate that activity. Now, people overcomplicate audience building for me, right? You just need to do the basics in this. I'm going to list out what I did. And also, I want you to think about then, what do you do in terms of building your own audience? So you can see there that I've got LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, which I've been building over a number of years now, right? It's not gone overnight. But on LinkedIn, as an example, I connect with active and interested users and then potential prospects. I mean, for those of you that are using LinkedIn, just give me a yes in the chat if you're proactively building your network right now. So you can send 100 to 200 connection requests every single week without fail, and you should all be doing it. Don't just send it to prospects. Actually build your audience up with people that are going to be active on the platform and people that are going to be interested in your content so you can put your content up. I'm not going to be teaching you about content in this today. This is about building the business model. I've done loads of workshops on content in the past, which again, I can give you replays to in the future. But posting content is important, right? You've got to be the face that people see the first time they log in, the last time they log off. And it's about understanding the right content sources to post on the right platforms. So on YouTube, it's YouTube Shorts and 8-minute information-based videos, really. On LinkedIn right now, video is taking off. So getting some video content out there. But there's also different content sources that you can put out there. Instagram Reels. TikTok is all just about short form, increasing now by video length time as you're going through. But you can't do all of it at once. You've got to isolate one platform, get it working, get it automated, and then you stack another one. And I'm going to be sharing with you how to do that in a second. I was also doing a bit of networking. Has anybody on here go to networking events like BNI or the PSA or anything like that? Like networking is something that I loved to do previously. I don't do as much of it anymore because currently, like I'm doing a lot of traveling and I'm seeing different kind of places where business can be done, really. But I used to go to these events, right? And there was one thing going to them, another thing understanding how to actually capitalize on them. And that's the next step that I'm going to be taking you through now. But it's about understanding like why you're going to these events. Why are you posting content? Why are you building your network? Are there any public speakers on here? Public speaking was a skill that I teach inside of our training. It's something which changed the game for me, having structures to follow and also getting in front of audiences. Like it's automatically builds your credibility when you do. I was absolutely terrified doing it right at the beginning. But again, when you land the right speaking events, everything becomes so much easier. And then the big one that everybody seems to forget is collaborations. So I do podcast interviews. I do live events on socials. This stuff I actually find fun. Like collaborations are the best ways in which you can grow at speed. And again, working out how to secure the right collaborations is something to learn. You've got to understand how to build the right relationships. Jill, when we were part of that mastermind, I did some collaborations with Nick, the mastermind host, where I spoke at some of his events, and we did the Instagram agency joint venture together. Like we did collaborations to get access to each other's audiences, and we did some good work there. But with it, it's about understanding how to do that properly, because all of this stuff is simple. And I've done different workshops in the past that talk about this in a lot more detail. But to be able to do this properly, you've got to make sure that you get this in place and then you automate as much of it as you possibly can. Please don't just do this once and then forget about it, because this stuff you don't need to do day in, day out. You can automate a lot of it. The bottom right-hand corner there is actually our technology that we give to people. That has email marketing, lead magnets, hosting. So you can actually get all of this done. The network building, I use automation software to build my network for me. It then DMs every connection possible with a message that then builds my email list every single day. I then have email sequences which when someone downloads a lead magnet, emails are then automatically sent to nurture the audience to the point where they might want to buy from us. It's the same thing with client onboarding. All of this stuff you can automate so you don't have to keep doing it over and over again. Just people don't quite know the steps to take. I mean, I'm genuinely curious. How many of you out there have an email list right now? There's over 50 of you on at this current point. How many of you got an email list? Give me a yes if you've got an email list. Like the majority of people come to these workshops because they've received an email from us. And I still then asked a question today, and people still aren't building it every single day. And that's step 5, right? You've got to build it every single day, because I noticed this really early on. The moment my email list started to grow, the faster my business started to grow. And I give away 2 free things at the moment. I have 100 content ideas and I have a complete guide to social selling, both that I give away for free. And if you want these, by the way, just put guide or 100 in the chat and you'll get sent them afterwards. But there's 2 free things that I give away, and I do it to be able to collect email addresses. So I send out direct messages to people by trying to get them onto my email list. That's the approach. I'm not hiding it. It's completely and utterly obvious. It's moving people to our email list and then make sure that I'm growing it. My LinkedIn sends 50 to 100 direct messages a day. My Instagram sends 50 to 100 direct messages a day. I'm not sending them. I've got them automated, and people are so against this stuff. But actually, like you saw on my previous slide, people saying thank you to my direct message. Some people don't like it, right? Some people hate them. But actually, my direct message is something along the lines of, hey, look, I know you're probably busy. You get bombarded with sales messages every single day. I don't expect you to respond to this. However, if social media is something that you're struggling with, here are 3 things that I give away. They've helped thousands of people. Feel free to have a look at them if you like. If not, look forward to seeing your content in the newsfeed. Now, I'm going to ask you, if you received a direct message like that, would you mind? Or would you go, actually, fair enough? Like, how many of you put yes in the chat if you'd go, oh, fair enough? Or how many of you would completely go, oh, God, that's not for me? Some of you still won't like it. But the reality is 85% of people go, thanks. And that's the first touch point, right? First touch point. Adam, you got one from me yesterday. Amazing work, right? Like, it's not something that you're spamming people with. It's a one-off message. And the reality is, I'm going to switch this, right? So you can all chat with everybody. So when you send this messaging, guys, could you switch it on your chat? It will say, switch to send this message to everyone. I actually just want to know the truth, okay, at this point. How many of you registered for this workshop today because you received an email from me? And how many of you just saw it on social media? How have you got here today? I'm genuinely curious. If you could switch it to send it to everyone, that would be really helpful, just so everyone can see it. Can everyone see here? Now they're all starting to come through right now, right? Can you see here the amount? There's a couple of you are saying both. The majority of people are saying email. This is the fact, right? If you are not email marketing properly now, you are missing out on 80%. That 80% of our registrations to this webinar today, it's probably more than that actually looking at these numbers, came from an email. So if you're not building out your email list right now, thank you very much for that, guys. I appreciate it a lot. Then you're missing out on opportunity. This is the stuff you've got to build lead magnets, give stuff away for free, and then make sure that you're capturing data as the currency. Because when you do that, then you can then look to run your conversion campaigns. Okay, so for each of the businesses that we work with, we never get them to wait for business to come to them. That's the biggest problem that they have, is that they're sitting there waiting for the business to happen. I don't do that. You can see on the right-hand side there, right? I've got a workshop, which is today's workshop. I also have direct messaging. I start direct messaging conversations out with people. And you can see here, my first message after I send that initial message is, how did your business typically come to you? Is it mainly word of mouth, or do you do some paid ads? Conversation comes by. And then from there, you can see this was around 3 hours later. I do have a replay, but it gets taken down. Happy to have a call. I'm away this week. Well, if you wanted to ping over an older one, then please do. Sounds like a plan. Here's the call. I get call bookings in pretty much 2 to 3 times a day. I've trained my team to do this for us now in terms of the way that we work it. It's just a structure that you follow. But with it, direct messaging conversations are extremely important, a great way of being able to do it. Not for everyone. Some of you might want to run webinar campaigns. Some of you might want to run audits. Like, we do all of this and it's all stacked on my account. Webinars, audits, free discovery calls, scorecards, DM conversations. It takes some initial effort to get them into place. But once you got them into place, it's amazing how everything then clicks into gear and the opportunity starts coming. The biggest reality is most people, unfortunately, aren't selling enough. They're not putting enough conversion opportunities in place. And I sell agency services, consulting services, coaching services, recruitment services. I've helped hundreds of different businesses now in different sectors utilize these different things. Very, very simple to do. But my question to you, you can't see these on here right now, but you can, it might be a bit small for you, but out of interest, like, which ones, I'm going to read them out. Let me know in the chat which ones you're doing at the moment, or if you're not doing any. How many of you are running live webinars or running free sessions? Dina, I do both B2B and B2C. How many of you run audits or scorecards, or you run evergreen videos? Maybe you do meetings. Which ones are you currently doing? And then from there, you then need to look at the volume. Because what we do is, in the way that I work with anyone, is you get an offer, you then pick a connection source, you then pick a control source, a conversion source, and a closing source. You link them together, And then you stack another one and you stack another. And what you end up doing is effective marketing and sales assets built that are connected to each other that drive people to become customers. It sounds very, very simple. It is, but the devil of this is in the detail. And so the biggest focus point for all of our customers is really focusing in on being proactive on converting business. And again, all of these are quite small, actually. So I'm not expecting you, but I'm going to leave them there just while I talk it. You can see the amount of people that come back, and just by switching their mindset onto conversion, how quickly they see results. Like I've been working with customers now for nearly 5 years, right? Again, we help people with multiple different things, from building an audience to controlling it, to converting it, to delivering it. And it all starts with building out your first campaign, right? And then with it, the opportunity then just comes because it's already there for you. You've just got to give yourself the opportunity, or should I say, give them the opportunity to be able to see it. And that then allows you to move into the final step. Because then once you've got somebody and then they're working with you directly, you've then got to make sure that they don't leave you. That's the challenge with monthly recurring revenue businesses. Because there's one thing getting a customer, it's another thing entirely keeping them. On the right-hand side there, you can see the way that we keep people. We grow our monthly recurring revenue every month because we focus in on retention. And people focus so much attention on getting new clients that they forget about the ones that they've already won the hearts of. And so we're never looking to stop improving what we do, from our training roadmap, so our step-by-step training, to our live events, to the community, to the technology. With your process, we need to ensure that you do the same thing. Keep making your process, your system, your product, your solution better. And when you do that, you end up with something that looks like this. So like when you work with us, this is just to explain it to you. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it anyway, so you've got it. But like this is the training that we deliver and also the stuff that we're still building out. So we take people through a process which focuses on product and their market fit, then marketing, then sales, and then delivery, right? So we take you through this step-by-step video training as you go through it. But initially we work on a 30-day plan because we don't want to focus too long-term. We look at your business and your life objectives and we work out, okay, what do you need to build to get revenue through the door so you don't leave, right? That's the first mindset hurdle we've got to overcome. So we look at your business model. We then look at how you market it, how do you sell it, and then how do you deliver it, and then how do you scale it, right? So we work through that step by step. We take you through that process then, so through the video training, through all of the different things that I've mentioned. So all of those steps we take people through, and we do it for a ridiculous offer of 50 quid a month. That's what we do. That's our offer. Now, I don't know how you price yours, but we have numbers of different levels. But the service is very simple. It's £50 a month, and that gets you all the training, all the accountability, everything that you need. There's no contract. You leave when you want to leave. It's a 30-day notice period. And then we have a £250 a month, which is a 12-month agreement where you work one-to-one with me, right? That's the difference, right? And so you need to build out yours in the same way that we've got here. With ours, we make this a no-brainer at the price point, the level of experience that you get, and then the process that we work through. We then also, just so you know, we then give support, because I think that when you're building out an offer, the support is really important that you give. So we give 2 weekly mentoring sessions. They're every Monday at 12 p.m., every Thursday at 2 p.m. And then from that, you can see we answer every question. They're all themed. I think this month, we're focusing in on webinar delivery. So people have got loads of questions on webinars. And we give you as much support as we can for you to learn and implement this process. Like our biggest thing is about doing business well and sustainably. And we want to work with people that want to do the same thing. We also then, to make this even more of a no-brainer, then add technology into it as well. So this is where you need to think, whenever you're pitching your products and services, how can you add in more value, which doesn't cost you a huge amount of money or time to be able to improve the experience? I know how much money people spend on marketing and tech, from landing pages to CRM, and it's ridiculous. So we built something where people can just use it without spending any more money on tech. We also then wanted to make sure that people have the support. So we have a team of 6 people that all specialize in different things that people can ask questions of. Me, Sam, Nick, Zoe, Elise, and Victoria all work together in it. Chakra Objective. And again, you need to think about how do you layer in what it is that you're doing. And so, like, in terms of today, I'm hoping this has given you some like insights into what we do and how you can go about building this. It's a brand new presentation. I've never delivered it before. Your feedback would be really, really meant like I'd be really grateful for it. But today you can come and work with us on it. So if you need some support to come and do this, it's a membership. It's £50 a month, right? Plus the VAT, just so you're aware. You get access to everything that I've mentioned, the community, the monthly challenges, the Q&A, the mentoring, the template library. So you get the presentations, the emails, the content templates. We also run in-person quarterly mastermind days. So we're running those. There's one next week, next Friday. And I think it's £100 if you're a normal Academy member. If you're a premium member, you don't even have to pay, you just come along, right? So like with this, we have stacked this all, and it's business growth education to learn how to build monthly recurring revenue businesses, like I've mentioned, all of the different social media platforms, email marketing, conversion, closing, delivery for £50 plus VAT. And for the first 5 people, I can only do 5 because I'm running these workshops quite frequently on different things. We're also going to have, do you remember that process at the beginning that I mentioned, where I spend 30 minutes going through it with you and I map out what you're going to do and what you need to do in the quickest time frame? Well, for the first 5 people that do and join us, I do it on every workshop that I do when I'm offering my time. If you scan that QR code, I'll also put the link in the chat box for you to be able to join, and then I'll go into some Q&A. But if you go through that link there, the first 5, you'll see it. When you fill it out, you'll be given a call booking link if you're one of the first 5. If you're not, drop me a message and I'll see what I can do for you. Yeah, I always get told off for saying that, but oh well. But if you're not one of the first 5, drop me a message. The link won't be there, so just drop me a note, and I'll see what I can do. But obviously, you have everything. It's a ridiculous offer, and anyway, all like the training. You saw the training matrix that's there. You work through it in step-by-step format. And so I'm hoping that kind of gives you a bit of insight into kind of who we are and what we do. I'm curious, was that helpful for everybody? Could I just get a thumbs up or a yes? Is that some? Did that give you some insights into building this sort of stuff? It did. Good. Okay, well, I've done my job. Happy days. Again, I've not delivered something like this specifically before, so the feedback is really, really appreciated. I don't know if anyone has any questions at all. No, there is no contract at all. It's 30 days. Literally, when you join, it's 30 days notice and you can go. So it's like any real subscription that you do. I've literally, I can't really do it for anything more of a no-brainer than that, to be honest. I'm even giving my time away with it. Like this for me is a huge, like I got a little bit ripped off at the beginning with like training that offered no value whatsoever. And I promised that when I got to a position where I could give back, I would. Blunt truth, shared it in lots of content online. Just go and have a look at the comments and you'll see how people agree. But yeah, I'm really glad you found that helpful. Again, the QR code is there. The link is there. The feedback is amazing. I appreciate it a lot. If those of you that aren't connected to me on LinkedIn already, come and drop me a message on LinkedIn or Instagram. Let me know that you came along. Let me know what you thought. I appreciate every single one of you for coming along. If you've got any questions, you know where I am. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Oh, Anne, can you tell us more about the template library? Yeah, so like I will share like my PowerPoint presentations. I've got a viral content vault which goes through email marketing templates that you get. Some people like to see our like terms and conditions templates to be able to. Now again, you've got to get those customized yourself. There's loads. And basically, if you need something, if we've got it, we'll also just give you it, because I mean it's no harm to us if we've already done it. So yeah, and if there's anything specific that you need, and we've got it available, we'll just give you a copy of ours. In terms of how we do it, we're very, very open that way. So yeah, I hope that helps. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate your time and attention. Your engagement's been awesome. Makes it really easy for me to deliver these when you're in the chat. I absolutely love it. For those of you that have joined us, looking forward to speaking with you, looking forward to working with you. Have an amazing day, evening, whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you all very soon. Thank you very much, and goodbye.